Good evening. This is D-Day here at Los Angeles in the sports arena where the Democratic National Convention on this, the third day of its meeting, gets down to the business of selecting its nominee for the presidential election. There's been a last-minute surge of excitement for Adlai Stevenson. The supporters of Senator Lyndon Johnson and Senator Stuart Symington still maintain that they are confident. But all of the polls by the press services and by our staff here at CBS indicate that Senator John Fitzgerald Kennedy, 43 years old, of Massachusetts, is practically a shoo-in on the first ballot. If he does not make it, it will be one of the big upsets in political history, perhaps the biggest. The closest any man has ever come to a first ballot nomination and has still not made it was back in 1912 when Champ Clark failed against Woodrow Wilson. But he still was a long way from a first ballot nomination. It took 46 more ballots to get the two-thirds he needed. He had a majority on 7 of those ballots, but he couldn't go over the top. However, Senator John Kennedy today is far closer than Champ Clark was in 1912. Our indications are that he has already sewed up enough votes to go over the 761 he needs.
Before the call of the roll of the states for nominations for president is commenced, the chair wishes to state the following policies which will be followed dealing with requests for withdrawals of names from consideration after once placed in nomination and the changing of votes after the roll call has been made, but before the tabulation of the results has been announced and the roll call becomes final. Both withdrawals and vote changing have been permitted by long-standing precedent, and the chair will not arbitrarily deny such right in the absence of a change in the rules. It is the desire of the chair not to enlarge or lessen any previously established privilege, but to deal with such in a manner which will assure impartiality and fairness to all. Now, these are the policies that I intend to apply during the evening. The rules, of course, forbidding the interruption of a roll call will be rigidly enforced. Before the voting roll call commences, and after all nominations have been made and seconded, the chair will inquire if there are any of those nominated who wish their names withdrawn from further consideration by the delegates at that time. Delegates placing names in nomination or having expressed authority from the person nominated will, at such time, be recognized briefly for the purpose of requesting withdrawal. If there are 2 or more requesting recognition for this purpose, they will be recognized in the order the nominations were made. After all delegations have voted, and before the final tabulation, the chair will inquire if recognition is requested for the purpose of changing votes. If there are 2 or more requesting such an opportunity, the chairman of the respective delegations will be recognized for this purpose one time and in the alphabetical order of the states. When any such changes are recorded, the chair will forthwith call for the final tabulation and the end of the roll call. The roll call of the states for nomination for the office of the President of the United States will now be called by the reading clerk. Delegates, it is my great privilege of presenting to you our distinguished clerk, who has served 8 consecutive National Democratic Conventions, Mr. Edward Frazier. Emory Frazier, pardon me. Emory Frazier of Kentucky.
Alabama. Mr. Chairman, T.C. Allman, Chairman of the Alabama delegation, speaking. Alabama yields to
chair with pride presents to this convention a Democrat who is known in any gathering of Democrats anywhere. He is especially known, of course, in a national convention, perhaps better than any man alive. Your distinguished permanent chairman of the last 3 Democratic National Conventions, the distinguished Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Sam Rayburn.
I made a speech in the House of Representatives the first year I was in the Congress. In that I said, I pray that the time will come when there will be no east, no west, no north, no south, but it shall be a common country in which every sector of it is interested in every other sector of it. The man I will present to you today is a disciple of that doctrine. I care not what section of our country a man comes from. If he is the best qualified man to lead us in our nation, that is the man that this convention should nominate for the presidency of the United States. For 23 years, he has been a servant of the people in Washington. He showed qualities in the House of Representatives. Then he went to the Senate of the United States, and 3 times he has been the unanimous choice of his colleagues in the Senate to be their leader. On every occasion, he has lived up to the highest standards of leadership. For more than 47 years, I have been a member of the House of Representatives. Longer than any other man in the history of the United States. I've been the Speaker of the House nearly twice as long as any other man in the history of the United States. I have watched the House of Representatives, where I have served with 3,000 men and women. I have watched the Senate of the United States. There are 46 men in the Senate of the United States today who served with me in the House of Representatives. Great men, great leaders. But out of all of that group, they chose one man to help fix their policy, to be their leader, and to accomplish things. Mr. Eisenhower, since he has been president for 2 terms, nearly 8 years, has controlled, his party has, the House of Representatives only 2 years. We even made such a record under his first 2 years, under the Republicans in the House, that the Democrats ran the Republicans out and put us in. In 1956, when he carried the country by the biggest majority ever given a man in the history of this land, we still control the Senate and the House of Representatives. After that, in 58, we controlled the Senate by the biggest majority ever, and by the House of Representatives by more than 130 votes. This was not an accident. This was not an accident. It was a thought of the program we had and the leadership that we had, especially in the Senate of the United States. In this serious hour of our country's history, I present to you a man who has demonstrated that under adverse circumstances he can be a great leader. And if you nominate him, he will in November bring the elements of Democrats from one end to the other of this country together. I therefore, with confidence, with faith in your judgment and your patriotism, nominate for the Democratic Party's leader in 1960, Lyndon B. Johnson of Texas.
Ed, one other state caucus vote has reached us here. A caucus just before the nominating speeches got underway by the Iowa delegation, and they reversed themselves on yesterday's action in which they demanded that they stick by Governor Herschel Loveless in a first ballot favorite son vote. They have been released by Loveless. He attempted to release them yesterday, but they were sticking. And now they say that they will go for Senator Kennedy, 19.5 votes out of their 26 on the first ballot. Loveless will get 2.5 votes, Johnson will get 1/2, and Symington 1.5, according to that Iowa caucus action. So we've now had today Iowa, North Dakota, and this Mississippi defection from the Johnson ranks.
Ladies and gentlemen, the delegates of this convention, it is my distinct honor to present to you at this time one of our nation's outstanding governors, a great liberal crusader for the principles of the Democratic Party, the Honorable Orville Freeman, Governor of Minnesota. The man I am privileged to place in nomination here is a man who has proven that he can and will, after careful, thorough, and calm deliberation, after gaining the best advice from those who, in this great land of ours, can give it to him, make the decisions that must be made so that we can do the job that has to be done at this critical time. This man is a man of devoted liberal principle, one who stands forthrightly on the greatest platform that the Democratic Party has ever written. A platform that carries within it hope for the people of the world, assurance for the people of our land, that is vigorous in its message, confidence in its tone, resolute in its direction, liberal in its purpose. This platform and what it means in the program that stems from it guarantees to our land, as we put it into effect, the future that we hope and pray for now and for those to come. It must be fought for. It must be battled for. It must be worked for, not by some, but by all. It must be brought to our people with a tone and with a meaning which has been so sadly lacking. So America that ought to be confident ensure and resolute, will be what it can be and what it must be. And the man that I'm about to present to you can bring it to our people in the world in these definable terms and bring courage and drive and dedication at a time when it's desperately called for in America and the world. And as a part of this, the great battle for peace, the great battle for assurance and security everywhere around this world. This man has seen the horrors of war. He has suffered from them, and he is dedicated to the purposes of peace. Calm, deliberate, careful planning, not haphazard, not hesitant, not improvised, but thorough, searching, penetrating, carefully prepared, and carefully carried out. There's another quality too, and I speak about this one with some experience. The man that we nominate must know how to win elections. And from Minnesota, I have a little experience with that. There will be another first at this convention, because when I have concluded this nomination, I will rejoin my delegation in Minnesota as one of its members and co-chairman, while we cast a vote for a great American, for a great Minnesotan, and for one that we are dedicated to as our favorite son on the first ballot, Senator Hubert Humphrey. Now, may I say to you that it isn't just incidental that I mention this, because in the first place, it has been proven that the man I am honored to nominate can organize a campaign and can win campaigns and will win the election in November. But when Senator Humphrey decided that he would no longer be a candidate, I then, as the governor of Minnesota and a delegate to this convention, did some real soul searching on all of these nominees. I read what is said about them. I talked to their friends. I talked to their enemies. I examined what they had said because I knew I had to make a decision. And this was done many, many, many weeks ago. And as I reviewed them, and with all recognition to all of them, and they are great men, I concluded after the most sincere and penetrating soul searching that the man that I am about to present to you is the one who could provide the kind of leadership that our land needs. As we look to this future, as we fight the battle for the future, as we meet the responsibilities of this new age of abundance, as we seek to bring to the people of our land and the world what this future can mean, we must face a great responsibility. And the man who can lead us to meet that responsibility, to lead us to a fruitful America, to a peaceful world for mankind everywhere, is the great senator from the state of Massachusetts, John F. Kennedy.
We have been advised that Senator Kennedy has gone to a secret hideout, an undisclosed place while this nominating session takes place, that he was saying he planned to take a nap there after last night's sleepless evening of last-minute delegate talks, but that he will be watching the later stages of this nominating session, presumably the balloting at least, on television. Bernie Eisman, you down there on the floor?
We're right here with Hubert Humphrey. When Orville Freeman finished his nominating speech, the senator said, "That was a good job, Orville," and then he shooed out the Kennedy demonstrators in his party, although he didn't say it favored Stevenson. Senator Humphrey, what do you feel about this political diversity with Governor Freeman? You've been friends for many, many years.
We sure have. We don't always agree. And I thought he gave a wonderful speech. The best thing that's happened to John Kennedy is Freeman's nomination of him.
Would you like to see Orville Freeman as a vice president?
Yes, sir. Very much.
The strength of America rests on many pillars, and one of them, or all of them, the candidate from Missouri has demonstrated leadership. Executive leadership is strength. Missouri's candidate has taken on 5 of the toughest assignments in the executive branch of our government. He is a man with proven ability to organize, proven ability to manage, proven ability to administer men and government. Full production and employment are another pillar of strength. Missouri's candidate started as a laborer and rose to be a company president. He won the trust of both labor and management, and he can make the American enterprise system work. Agriculture is another pillar of strength. Another pillar of strength which has been seriously undermined in recent years. This man is from a great farming state. He is on the Agriculture Committee of the Senate. He knows the farmers' problems firsthand. Human rights and dignity are strength. Long before he entered public life, he had established a model of teamwork between Americans of all colors and creeds, and he has never deviated from this policy. Technology is strength, and he is informed, and our candidate is in the vital fields of space and science. Solvency is strength, and by this I mean responsible management of our government. When he says he can save billions of dollars in our defense establishment, he means it, because he knows the Pentagon inside and out. And above all, my fellow Americans, in unity there is strength. My candidate has the confidence of the North and the South, of the East and the West, and he will run as well on the farms as in the cities. He is truly the candidate of all the people. This man has won every election he has entered. Despite tremendous opposition, he entered the political arena of Missouri and was victorious for the greatest majority ever given a man in public office in the state of Missouri. In the next 4 months, we will have time to take his record to all the people, and they will support him just as Missouri does. He is the first choice of everyone who has worked with him or knows his program for America. Mr. Chairman and fellow delegates, it is my great honor to put before this convention the name of the distinguished senator from Missouri, a man who will be every inch a president, the Honorable Stuart Symington of Missouri.
people out of 172 million Americans, the chosen of the Democratic Party, come here to Los Angeles to choose a man to lead this Democratic Party in the campaign of this fall and this November, but to choose a man whom we hope will lead this country and all of our friends and all of those peoples who look to us for help, who look to us for understanding, who look to us for leadership. We are here participating in the great test of democratic society. As you know, this way of life is being challenged today. There are those, the enemies of democracy, who say that free men and free women cannot exercise that measure of intellectual responsibility, cannot demonstrate that measure of moral responsibility which is called for to make the kind of decisions that we free people are called upon to make in this year of 1960. And there are those, I remind you, who are the friends of democracy, who have expressed some doubt and some reserve as to whether or not this ideology, this way of life, these institutions of ours can survive. Let me ask you at this time to put aside all of your prejudices, to put aside any kind of unwarranted regional loyalties, to put aside for the time being preferences which are based purely upon questions of personality. Put aside, if you can, early decisions, decisions which were made before all of the candidates were in the race, decisions which were made at another season
Congressman
of the
James
year.
Roosevelt of California.
Decisions which were made when the issues were not clear as they are today. And I say to those of you candidates and spokesmen for candidates who say you are confident of the strength that you have at this convention, who say that you are confident and believe in democracy, let this go to a second ballot. Democrats here assembled, do not turn away from this man. Do not reject this man. He has fought gallantly. He has fought courageously. He has fought honorably. In 1952 in the Great Battle. In 1956, he fought bravely. And between those years and since, he has stood off the guerrilla attacks of his enemies and the sniping attacks of those who should have been his friends. Do not reject this man who made us all proud to be called Democrats. Do not reject this man who his enemies said spoke above the heads of the people, but they said it only because they didn't want the people to listen. He spoke to the people. He moved their minds and stirred their hearts. And this was what was objected to. Do not, I say to you, do not leave this prophet without honor in his own party. Do not reject this man. I submit to you, a man who is not the favorite son of any one state. I submit to you the man who is the favorite son of 50 states. And not only of 50 states, but the favorite son of every country in the world in which He is known of the favorite son in every country in which he is unknown, but in which some spark, even though unexpressed, by way of desire for liberty and freedom, still lives. This favorite son, I submit to you, Adlai Stevenson of Illinois.